How's this even possible? Did they just rub a Dorito on a Whopper?
Did you know that Doritos weren't always coated in that finger-licking cheese dust? When they first hit the shelves in the 1960s, they were just plain salted tortilla chips, and it wasn't until 1972 that the classic nacho cheese flavor made its debut. And the snack world has never been the same since. So, have you ever opened a fresh bag of Doritos, taken that first ultra-satisfying crunchy bite, and wondered, how do they make these chips so perfectly crisp and flavorful? Well, grab your snack, because we're taking a behind-the-scenes look at how Doritos go from simple corn kernels to the crunchy, cheesy, and addictive chips you can't stop eating. The magic of every Dorito begins with corn. Yes, that humble grain that you may have overlooked in the past. But without corn, there would be no Doritos. It all starts with massive shipments of corn kernels arriving at the factory. These kernels are selected based on their size, quality, and texture, making sure they're just right to become the crunchy base of our favorite snack. But did you know that Doritos are made from a special kind of corn? While the average corn on the cob is perfectly fine for eating, Doritos require field corn, also known as dent corn. This type of corn is specially grown for industrial use and has a higher starch content than the sweet corn you'd find on your plate. It's the starch that helps give Doritos their crispy crunch. The factory starts by cleaning these corn kernels, removing any impurities like dirt, small stones, or other debris that might have made it into the shipment. After this thorough cleaning process, the kernels are ready for their transformation. Here's where things get really interesting. The corn kernels are soaked in lime water. This process is called Nixtamalization. A big word, but the process is quite simple. The kernels are left to soak for several hours, which softens the hull and makes the corn easier to grind. This ancient technique has been used for thousands of years by Mesoamerican civilizations. So you could say Doritos have a bit of a historical flavor to them. After soaking, the corn is rinsed, and what's left is a doughy consistency called masa. This masa is the foundation of Doritos, similar to the dough used to make tortillas. In fact, the factory is essentially creating massive tortilla dough that will soon become everyone's favorite snack. The question is, how do we turn this dough into the perfect Dorito shape? The answer lies in the magic of cutting machines. These aren't your average kitchen scissors. They're high-speed precision cutters that slice the masa into the iconic triangular shape. And why triangles, you ask? It's simple. Triangles are the most efficient shape for a snack like Doritos. They maximize the crispy edges, and they make for a satisfying bite. Plus, triangles are just fun to eat. But don't let their simple shape fool you. There's a lot of engineering that goes into making sure every Dorito chip is perfectly cut and uniform in size. Once the masa is perfectly shaped into triangles, it gets sent down a conveyor belt to the deep fryer. But before they can take their dive into the hot oil, they need to be evenly distributed on the belt. This part of the process makes sure no chips get stuck together or overlap, so they will all cook at the same time. While the chips are still just masa triangles, they may not look like much, but as they make their way to the next stage, something special is about to happen. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Now let's talk about the frying process. We've all seen those sizzling hot pans where things turn crispy, but in a Doritos factory, we're talking about industrial-sized fryers that are big enough to hold tons of masa triangles. These fryers are filled with super hot vegetable oil, heating up to around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the magic temperature to get the right crunchy crispiness that Doritos are famous for. The masa triangles are dropped into the fryer, where they immediately start to bubble and fry to perfection. As the chips float through the hot oil, they quickly cook and begin to puff up, creating tiny air pockets inside each triangle. These air pockets are the secret behind the light and airy crunch that makes Doritos so addictively delicious. The factory workers are always watching, carefully monitoring the chips as they cook, making sure every one of them has the perfect golden brown color. If any chips are too dark, they're removed to avoid a burnt flavor, and if they're too light, they're left in a little longer. During the frying process, the oil draws out the moisture from the masa, giving the chips a dry, crispy texture that's just waiting to be coated with flavor. Once the chips are fried and ready, they're pulled out of the fryer and sent to the cooling conveyor belts. The temperature is important here, because if the chips were packed while they're still warm, they'd become soggy and lose that perfect crispiness. So the factory takes extra care to let the chips cool at just the right pace before the next step. Here's where things get really exciting. It's time for the famous Dorito dust to work its magic. After cooling, the chips are transferred into a huge rotating flavor tumbler, where they will be coated in that irresistible cheese dust we all love. But it's not just cheese. The signature Dorito flavor is a blend of cheese powder, spices, and other secret ingredients. You know, the kind of secret ingredients that make you wonder, why do I keep reaching for more? As the chips tumble around in the tumbler, they get coated with a fine, orange seasoning that clings to every corner of the triangle. This is where that mouth-watering flavor explosion happens. The cheese, the spice, the umami, it's all perfectly distributed so that every chip gets an equal amount of seasoning. The timing of this flavoring process is crucial. If the chips are coated too early, they could lose some of the seasoning. But if the flavoring process is done just right, each chip is like a mini explosion of cheesy goodness in your mouth. The next step is the packaging stage. And here's where the magic of getting your hands on a fresh bag of Doritos happens. Think about the bag for a second. The bold, colorful design, the resealable top for those who need a little self-control, and the logo that's practically synonymous with flavor. That bag doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's carefully constructed to keep the chips fresh and make you want to grab it from the shelf. The chips are dropped onto a conveyor belt that leads directly to a high-speed packing machine. This machine is a workhorse. It can fill hundreds of bags per minute. The chips are then funneled into the bags, which are sealed tightly to lock in that fresh, crunchy goodness. This process is done quickly and efficiently to avoid letting any air get in, which could spoil the chips. Let's talk about the bag itself for a moment. Doritos bags are made from multiple layers of material to keep the chips fresh and crisp. The inner layer is a special food-safe plastic designed to prevent air from getting in and moisture from getting out. Once sealed, the bags are labeled with all the necessary information and are ready for the next step: shipment. This is where your favorite snack begins its journey to the grocery store or corner shop near you. The shipping process is a complex system that involves warehouses, trucks, and distribution centers. Once the bags are packed up and ready, they're loaded onto pallets and stacked onto large shipping containers. These containers are then transported to distribution centers, where the bags are broken down and sent to stores across the country, and even internationally to be sold. Shipping is a huge deal in the world of Doritos because the product has to be handled carefully. Imagine if all those bags were tossed around like footballs. They'd be crushed, and no one wants a crushed Dorito. So extra attention is paid to make sure the bags are carefully transported to their destination, ready for you to rip open and snack on. From corn kernels to crunchy perfection, the process of making Doritos is a journey that involves science, precision, and a little bit of magic. Every step, from soaking the corn to packing the bags, is designed to create that irresistible flavor and crunch that's loved worldwide. What's your favorite Dorito flavor? Classic nacho cheese or Cool Ranch? Or something even more adventurous, like spicy sweet chili? Let us know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos. Thanks for watching.